this episode, I talked to Ghinko, a resident artist at Bang Bang in New York City. She specializes in micro-realism, black and gray, with a very recognizable style. It was so great getting to hear her story and how she's learned to deal with the pressures and anxieties that can so easily come with a job. We talked about how much better it is when artists are open to each other and help each other grow in this industry. There's always something new we can learn as tattoo artists, and I love Ghinko's perspective, that we're all in this together. You can find Ghinko's work on Instagram, at Ghinkos. That's Ghinkos. My name is Jake Berry, and this is The Fine Line.
My actual name is Gladys, which is also weird. Gladys Co. So my friends growing up, they always call me Ghinko. That was like nobody calls me Gladys. But my friends growing up always called me Ghinko. And then when I started tattooing, I didn't want to use like my grandma name, Gladys. I think it's like a very like old name. And then so I just put ink in the middle of my initials. So it's just because G Ink Co. and it became Ghinko. So that's where it came from. Yeah.
That's cool.
Why Janky Jake? What's Janky?
So, like, do you have that? I don't know. Are you from the East Coast?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I don't know. Do you guys have that word over there? Janky?
Well,
it means like kind of like shitty. Like,
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like when we say janky, it means like, oh, it's like fucked up or some shit.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Like...
That's the meaning behind it. But so basically, my like background in tattooing is I was like one of those guys who just started tattooing out of my room and tattooing my friends. And it was exactly that. It was like super janky. Like I was using some really like scrappy coil machine that barely worked. And and I was just like hurting my friends. And one of my friends gave me that name. He's like, hey, you should start a Instagram account and just throw these up on Instagram. And he gave me the name Janky Jake Tattoos. And I was like, yeah, that's perfect. Because I didn't think it was going to be anything serious. I was like, yeah, I'm just messing around on people. Why not, you know?
Yeah.
And then it just kind of stuck.
I remember when I first saw your stuff, and I was like, this is an interesting handle, but it's catchy, so it kind of worked. So
yeah. I actually recently went through like I don't know if you could call it like an identity crisis with my tattoo Instagram handle, but it was like I was like, oh, should I change this, because it is like not a good name for tattooing. And I really like considered it then for a few weeks, and then I was like, you know what, I built a brand on it, and it's working, and you know, so I'm gonna stick with it. And in fact, I got a tattoo that says Janky for life, so now there's no going back. Yeah.
Was it on your Instagram? It was on your story or something. Yeah. I remember.
Yeah. So I committed.
Yeah, it's fine. It's like, I don't think all artists have a spectacular name. At least it's not boring, you know?
Yeah,
at least it's
exactly.
Not like, well, like, you know, like the other artists in our shop, they're just like their name, you know, that's it. It's just like their name, you know?
Yeah,
so,
yeah. No, it definitely catches your attention, so I'll take it. But yeah, so that's me. Let's talk about you. So just to get like a little idea of your background, how long have you been tattooing?
Professionally, it's been a little bit over 4 years. Yeah.
Cool. Wow. That's a pretty short amount of time.
Yeah. Unprofessionally, like, you know, like counting apprenticing and everything, I've been in the industry for like 5-6 years. Yeah.
Did you do your apprenticeship in New York?
Yeah, I am born and raised here in New York. So my first apprenticeship was in Brooklyn. So I went to like NYU, but then I hated school, you know. I mean, I think all artists hate school, you know. It just like goes against our creed and our lifestyle. But yeah, I was going to NYU. And I don't know, just going to school in New York, you're just like kind of surrounded by all these tattoo shops, like shitty ones, you know. But yeah, and then I remember when Bang first came into the scene, because it was like when I was in college. And I remember him kind of just like disrupting the whole tattoo scene in New York, just like causing a riot. And all of a sudden it went from just like, have you been to New York before?
I've never been, actually.
Oh my gosh, bro. You never been to New York? Yeah,
I'm dying to go. Well, I had like plans to come and then COVID happened, so.
Oh yeah. We'll make it happen. Yeah, and then when Bang kind of disrupted the whole New York scene, it wasn't like, so like in New York we have, you know, like street shops, you know, where people get their drunk tattoos.
Yeah,
and like that's like where all my friends were getting their tattoos from, just like these questionable shops around the area where they pay like $50, $100, you know, and they get like a kind of like a blown out tattoo. And I'm like, and I was looking at it and I was like, I think I could do better than that, you know?
Yeah.
And because all my life I've been like drawing, commissioning, freelancing, doing graphic design, and then just seeing these questionable tattoos on my friends helped me look for my apprenticeship
nice.
in Brooklyn. But then the first one failed. I was there for like a year, and then I gave up because it was like it was just like a, well, number one, it was in Flatbush, and at the time the area was like still very like underdeveloped, so it was quite shady to get there and shady to be there, you know. And I'm like 4'11". I'm like very short, so I'm just like I'm somebody could kidnap me.
Yeah.
But there was just like a lot of, it was sketchy, number one, and number two, it was just like, you know, like those like old school tattoo shops with like artists who think they're best in the world, you know, and like men. And no, there's nothing wrong with men, but you know what I'm talking about. You know,
I do.
Just like the old tattoo, the traditional. Oh my gosh, there's nothing wrong with it, but I'm just like saying, like, it was that kind of shop, and obviously I didn't fit in. I was just like this 4'11" Asian girl, like going to college, and I was like, it's like I just remember like that year it was just like cleaning the bathroom, cleaning the tubes with the autoclave, you know, doing that shit. You know, taking calls, just shop apprentice stuff, but not actually learning anything about tattoos, because you know how it is. They don't really trust you until like much later.
Right.
So yeah, I gave it a year and then I gave up, and then went to work, went back to school, and then I went back and I found a apprenticeship in the West 4 Tattoo. So yeah, one of my friends she was apprenticing there. Her name is JK Tat on Instagram, and
is that who I think it is? Probably.
There's a lot of JK tattoos, but she's JK Tat, JK dot.
Yeah,
Tat.
I follow her. Yeah.
Yeah, she was doing her apprenticeship in West 4, and then I was talking to her about it because we knew each other, and she got me my apprenticeship across the street at their sister shop. And then eventually when West 4, there was a huge turnover of artists one day, and then they hired me to West 4, and then that's where I met like my mentor, and that's where I kind of started to fit in, and then they taught me how to tattoo.
Cool.
And I think it was like a solid half a year before they were like, okay, you know, tattooing. Yeah, and here we are 4 years later after I became an artist. And yeah.
Well, it's amazing what you've done like in 4 years, and I mean your work is obviously so great, and you've like, you know, really established yourself in the fine line tattoo community.
Oh, you think so? That's great.
Yeah, well, of course. I mean, definitely. Now you're at Bang Bang, which is definitely like could be potentially the biggest, you know, most well-known tattoo shop in the world. I don't know. Is there a bigger tattoo shop? I actually don't know.
Not really, right?
It's pretty big time.
It's pretty big. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of shops like coming up in the scene.
For sure.
But I haven't really met any that have reached the same milestone as Bang.
Totally.
But there are definitely like a lot of amazing shops like popping up, you know?
Yeah.
And like kind
All
of
over.
taking the Bang example, you know?
Yeah, definitely. And that's something we were talking about when I met him, was like he kind of set the bar for everyone else. And I feel like a lot of people are trying to accomplish what he's started. He kind of sparked something globally, I think, you know?
Yeah.
And but yeah, I mean, you're working at Bang. That's a huge deal. And I mean, what's that like for you? There's obviously a ton of amazing artists there. It looks like a really cool community from, you know, on social media.
Yeah, it's I don't know, just like kind of growing up in New York, you know, that was always like the goal for me as a tattoo artist, to make it in there, you know. And
Nice.
now that it's been 2 years at Bang already, and it's definitely like every day you just go in with like so much pressure. Just like I was having this talk with one of my clients recently, because they're all curious. They all come and they're like, "Oh my gosh, do you love it here? Are you like a crew here?" And everybody is so down to earth. It's kind of crazy. Like just going to, like, I did like a lot of guest spots. I've been to, and I've worked in like 4 New York shops before Bang. And I realized how different Bang was, not in terms of just like mere build out of the shop, because the shop itself is like beautiful, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they put a lot of thought into it, you know, to make it comfortable for the artists. But the biggest thing about Bang that is like amazing are the artists, who are just like, every day they you know, pop over, they look at what you're working on, they ask you questions, you know. And then you're like, "Oh shit, me? You're asking me questions?" like
Yeah.
everybody is so curious, you know.
That's
and
cool.
Even though we all have very different styles, everybody is super curious about each other, especially if somebody new comes in. Like in the tattoo industry, there's like a lot of cocky people, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
And I've met a lot of cocky people too.
Yeah.
But nobody's really cocky at Bang, you know.
That's
Nobody's
cool.
really like, "Oh, I'm the best one," you know. Like there's like this. Nobody's ever like, "Oh, this is how you do it," you know. Everybody's always just like, "How'd you do this? How'd you do this?" And like, you're also like welcome to go to them and see how they're working, and like ask them questions. It's like a very like productive, like learning, like open environment, which is like the best thing, because like in other shops it was just kind of like, I met like a lot of artists in other city shops that were just like, "Oh, I don't want them to know what machine I'm using, you know, because I don't want them to see the needle that I'm using, because like and I always thought that was like a normal mindset, you know, just growing up in New York. But then, you know, going to guest spots and then coming to Bang, you realize that like that's not normal, you know.
It's such a strange way to be, because it just holds everyone back, including the person that's keeping the secrets. In a community of artists, it's inevitable that you're going to grow as well, you know. And that's what I think is so cool, about like what it sounds like at Bang and other newer shops. I feel like it's becoming less of a secret, you know, which is amazing, because that's how everyone progresses and gets better. But I mean, I know everyone has their thing, and that's fine, but I definitely personally want to surround myself with like that kind of community. That's where it's at.
Yeah, I think it's just like everybody's so secure, you know, in like what they do. And when you're secure, and when you know, like, I don't know, when you've kind of had the career that you've had, you know, and you meet the shitty people and you have the good people, you realize that like being one of the shitty people is just doesn't help you progress as an artist, you know?
Yeah.
You just become one way and like parochial, and like the best thing for you to be like the best artist you can be is to, well, to be the best artist you can be, you also need to be constantly learning. Then also it's a two-way street, and you also have to constantly be open to who's ever asking you questions, you know?
Yeah.
And it's so funny. Like, I just think about like my first apprenticeship and how I would have to take videos of the artists working, and they would just be like, "Don't get my needle in there," and I'm like,
No
"How am I
way.
supposed to get the tattoo if I can't get the needle?"
Wow, imagine
And,
that.
like,
That is,
it's
but I
just,
mean,
like-
so many people were brought up in that kind of way of learning, like you said. So that's like what
Yeah.
they know. Tell me something about, like, say you're walking into Bang. Obviously, walking into a place like that, you're probably going to be, at least like for the first few weeks for you, I'm sure you were walking in every day like feeling super inspired. You're like, wow, I'm here. Like, can't believe this. It's a beautiful place. Look at all these amazing artists. And just like anything, I'm sure you kind of get used to it, and like, okay, another day going into work. So how do you stay like inspired? How do you stay like motivated, or like even better, do you have any sort of like mental preparation before going into a session, even like a long session that you know is going to take all day?
Oh, I'm sure like you feel it too, but like, do you ever get like anxious like for like
Yeah.
a big project coming up?
Big time. Yeah.
Like I'm like you think it fucking goes away, but it doesn't fucking go away.
Never.
Yeah, so I'm still like that. I imagine I will continue to be like that for a while. But it helps to know that like your client is also equally nervous, you know?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
it's not just like a you situation, it's a us situation, you know?
Yeah.
And obviously like the client is coming to you, so you kind of have to like own it, you know? You kind of have to be like, well, this is like it's okay to feel anxious, you know? Like,
Yeah.
I'm anxious. I'm an anxious person. But I think but then like once you like kind of like go through your anxiety, and then you see the person in front of you, you know, and you're like listening to them, you're talking to them, you're consulting with them, you're asking them about their life, you're asking them about what brought them here today, what does this tattoo mean, you kind of get to like realize that like you are here to help them, you know? And then going by step from like being first anxious, then getting to know the person, it kind of like makes you you know, I guess like suck it up and just be like, you know, you got this, you know? And I think like, but the consultation part definitely helps. Like, I'm like not prepared mentally every time I go to work. I'm just like,
Really? Yeah.
I'm just like, you know, with my coffee, and I'm just like, oh my God, I hope another fucking day at work, you know, and I have my coffee and I'm fucking anxious.
Yeah.
And then I'm just like, and then I meet my client, and they're usually like the most wonderful, amazing people, you know, and then for some reason it's very soothing, and it's just that actually like melts away the anxiety, and it hypes you up because they're really excited to get tattooed. And then you're just like, oh my God, I'm so excited too.
Yeah.
And then just your anxiety just like melts away, you know?
Yeah.
And then 8 hours later, 9 hours later, even though your back is like on fire, like
I know.
it's all worth it, you know? And it's like
so
a
it sounds like the
roller coaster.
connection with the person, like the connection with the client is like really important to you.
Oh yeah. Of course. You don't want to be sitting there for like 8 hours, and like I don't even hang out with my friends for 8 hours. Like,
yeah, that's true.
You know?
That's a great point, actually.
Like, I'll see my friends, like, and we'll get drunk and whatever, and like that's fine. But like, you're sitting with like a whole ass person for like the entire day, and like you have to get to know them, you know,
Yes,
and you have to get to like life is short, you know, and like what we experience is limited, you know, where you live with the people, your friends, you know. But then you kind of have this chance to kind of like experience more. Like every day as a tattoo artist, you have a chance to experience more than your own life through your client, you know. And
for sure.
In a way, it, like, makes you feel older, because like it's like you're every day you meet a new life and you talk to them, and you like kind of like you're like kind of like vicariously like experiencing what they went through as like you're listening to them, and it's exciting, you know. And
it's so cool when someone maybe like comes back for a second tattoo.
Oh yeah, I think like clients like assume that tattoo artists, because they like see somebody new every day, they're just like, oh, they're not gonna remember me, you know. And like but like you'd be surprised, just like kind of just like sitting there and talking to your client. Yeah,
it all comes back. Like sometimes all it takes for me is like, I might not remember if I'm looking at your face, but as soon as I see your tattoo, it's like every conversation we had during our session comes back into my brain.
Yeah, like I don't fucking remember your name, but I see your tattoo and I'm just like, oh shit, yo. And then it's cool because you see them over and over again, and then you remember like tidbits, and then you're just like, how's your dog? How's your girlfriend? Oh, fuck, you broke up with your girlfriend? Fuck that, you know? And it's like you kind of get like a time lapse of their life. And like a lot of my clients are like returning clients. So it's cool to just like, you know, like when I first used to tattoo them when I was an apprentice, you know? And then now they come to me at Bang, you know, and they're like, oh my gosh, Ghinko, you made it in life. And I'm just like, nah, bro, like you made it too, because like it's like we're like watching each other like grow up, you know, and like clients move and they come back, you know, and then it's so fulfilling, you know. The client makes it fulfilling, to be honest. I mean, for me, the client makes it just tattooing so fulfilling in life.
You know what the best days are is when you know you have a returning client that is just like the most chill person, and you can just walk into work and there's none of that anxiety. Oh, yeah. And you're just like, yeah, I know today's going to be like the easiest day. We're just going to like do something really cool. They're going to be awesome.
It's the best feeling. Sometimes like they like know the process already, so they're not also like bludgeoning you with the same questions, like, how long have you been tattooing? Like, do you like it here at Bang?
Like me asking you right now.
You know, like the stereotypical questions they all ask you, like, what was your favorite tattoo that you've ever done? And I'm just like, and it's like, and when like your old clients come, you're just like, yo, what's good, you know? And it's best feeling.
So like a lot of what you do right now is like you mainly just focus on one style, which is like that micro realism kind of like small tattoos. And I think I'm biased because I also do fine line tattooing, but I think fine line tattooing is like opened up a lot of doors and kind of like broadened the demographic of people who are now getting tattoos. So I love it. I think it's cool. But is that something you started in straight away, or did you kind of go through the process of learning more traditional techniques or different styles before landing on this one?
Well, yeah, luckily like the apprenticeship that ended up turning me into an artist was based out of a fine line shop.
Cool.
So fine line was like the first thing I actually learned, but like within the other apprenticeships before that, it was like a traditional setting. So I was like not up to the tattooing part yet, so it was just like
that surrounding.
Yeah, just the surrounding, like making flashes, you know, learning about like the one thing that stuck with me from that apprenticeship, being traditional, is lines are the foundation, you know, of a tattoo. Cool. Because I see a lot of tattoos out there that are like so small. Yeah. And they don't have like an outline. It's like kind of just shading. And I don't know. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like the.
I think so.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
do I do that?
No. Yeah, no, you do it, but you do it well. You know, I think that's just part of microrealism. But I've never been able to do that. You know, just because it was like ingrained in my head that like lines are the foundation.
Yeah.
So I'll always have some kind of outline as like the foundation of any tattoo. I never just start with shading. Yeah, that's just how like I operate.
Do you outline with like a single needle, or do you usually go up to like a 3?
It depends on the skin, you know? Like some skin takes single needle well, some don't. So sometimes you'll have to take it up to a 3, depending on the project. And but yeah, mostly single or 3. Shading does most of the work, you know, but just like to kind of like give boundaries and compartmentalize, usually like a single or a 3, like a tight 3.
Yeah, and it probably does like help with like when the tattoo heals to not have those kind of like blurred edges.
Yeah, it depends on the size, you know. It's like if something's too small with too much shading, it can get messy. But if you have like if you're putting the right size and putting the right amount of contrast, it's totally fine, you know. But like just for like those really tiny tattoos, like some line work to kind of organize everything is helpful, you know.
So do you think that like maybe there's some things that are getting missed in this modern era of tattooing, like when you get a lot of new tattooers that are learning, a lot of people are learning on their own, obviously, like myself, and but you also get people that are maybe, you know, they're really good like straight away, and then they're obviously then teaching more people. But do you think there's some fundamental techniques that are being missed? Or like better question is, do you think that obviously, like you said, lining stuck with you, but do you think that there's some fundamental techniques that you see beneficial in like a traditional apprenticeship?
Yeah, for sure. I think like okay, well, like if we take like the fine arts route, everybody goes to school. Everybody like to become or back in like the Renaissance or like whatever, you had to study under somebody, you know, to and then you eventually make your own way, you know. So definitely there is like learning like the tools, you know, and learning like the basics and like the just learning to know every tool before you choose which specific tool is the tool you like is helpful, you know. Yeah. And I think that's what traditional apprenticeships help with, you know, because it tells you what you like, what you don't like, you know. It gives you options, you know. And obviously like starting your own way, I think is much harder than an apprenticeship, you know?
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And so I don't ever look down on people who started on their own, because I think it's much, much harder, you know? Yeah. And at least like if you have an apprenticeship, you see something and then you're just like, oh, that's not my style. But then you'll see something else and then you'll be like, oh shit, that's fucking dope, you know? But like by yourself, you're kind of limited to like social media, and then you're limited to
trial and error.
Yeah, and it's also just a very anxious journey to be by yourself, and you know,
and
like and like, am I doing this right? Like, is this how it's supposed to look? Like,
absolutely. Like even like when I was learning, see, I was always on the fence because I always thought I feel grateful that I didn't get taught someone else's bad habits. And then on the flip side, I felt like there was so much information that took me years to figure out that I would have figured out in a matter of months if someone was showing me. But that's like the biggest, that's like where there's like that, you know, but there's a fine line when it comes to like, you know, learning from people that know what they're talking about, people that are going to help you, and learning from people that are going to make it harder for you. So it's like hard to determine, you know what I mean? Like for the people that get in a good apprenticeship and someone is like teaching them the right ways and it works out, like that is so rare.
Oh my gosh,
it's so
rare.
Amazing, but it's very like rare. So yeah, it's hard to know like the best approach, you know. But I do think I do agree with you that there's like some, like even speaking from experience, there's some fundamentals that I wish I knew earlier that could only be like given to you if someone's showing you, you know.
Yeah, I also really like that. Like kind of having an upbringing in a shop, you get like also like you learn like the sanitation rules a lot more quicker, you know, which is like super important. Because it's hard to explain to people who like the kind of why tattoos are set up this way, you know. I think that's super important, especially like for somebody who's trying to get into tattooing. That's the first step, is to learn how to prevent cross-contamination, wrapping your things properly, making sure like what you touched with your gloves has to be wrapped at all times, and blah blah blah. And like, because sometimes you see some like shady setups and you're like, that doesn't look clean to me, you know. And then so that's what I like about the shop.
Definitely
apprenticeship upbringing is like this is how you set it. Obviously everybody sets up differently, but you know, the cleanliness part, you know, and like being sterile is like super important, you know.
Yeah, I think like everyone was like, when I watched the bloodborne pathogen video, because like in California you have to like watch that to like get your license and everything. I was traumatized. Like, I watched that video and I was like, what the fuck? I like started looking at everything differently, you know?
Oh my gosh, like I can't be tattooing on like porous surfaces that can like have like, that's why like you need stainless steel and like all these like metal things and like, you know, just like, and it's super, those are some valuable lessons that you learn, you know?
You're not going to understand unless someone's showing you and explaining why. And now, because of how traumatized I was after learning about it, I even see things on social media and I catch little moments, you know, where I'm like, ooh, that is really gross, you know, or something like that.
Yeah, it's like you could be a fucking great tattoo artist, you know, but you need to also know that you're like opening someone's skin and like, I mean, God forbid they have like something, you know, and and you could like get that on your machine and somehow transfer it to the next person, and and then I mean, like I've also personally like working in like some shady shops in New York City, like I've also seen people literally get infections, you know, from uncleanliness. Like it's like, what's that called? Like there's like this one kind of infection, it's called MERS. And somebody came in one time and like the infection had like spread all over their tattoo. It was like pussy, and it was like and I was like, and the tattoo was ruined, and it's a type of staph infection, and I was like, and then the tattoo artist I know who tattooed her was not the cleanest person in the world, you know. So it's just like super important, you know. It's rare, but it happens, and
totally happens. So
important.
And plus, you don't know where that person, like your client, could be coming in from anywhere. You know, like you don't know where they're coming from, what they were just doing. Like, you know, I've had clients come in that just had a workout and like they're all sweaty and they were at the gym and like touching a bunch of gross machine, you know what I mean? And they're bringing that into your environment. And you know, so it's like anyways.
Sorry, that was a tangent.
But I agree. That is definitely something to take away from like learning from someone. What do you think it takes nowadays for like an artist to stand out? There's so many good artists now. Like they're everywhere. They're and like every day I'm finding a new one. So it's like, how do you even begin to compete with the talent that's out there?
To stand out in today's industry, like you need, well, not only do you need like a strong technical foundation, you know? Like, you need to pull clean lines. You need to do good shading. Like, not only is that super important, but, like, to take it a step further, and if you want to become bigger in a more social media sense, you need to have a style, you know? You need to have somebody, you know, with, like, the ADHD community that we have today. Everyone's a little bit ADHD. I'm not making fun of anybody, but, like... but with, like, kind of, like, social media and, like, our short attention span, somebody needs to, like, scroll on Instagram or TikTok or whatever, and they need to, when they see just the image, they need to, like, instantly know that not only is it eye-catching, but they need to instantly know that, like, oh, it's by this artist, you know?
Yeah.
Like, this is her, you know?
Yeah.
Especially, like, especially because, like, when clients come, they bring you references of other people's tattoos, you know? So not only is your tattoo getting posted online, but it's being circled again and again to inspire other tattoos and other artists and other clients. So you need to make sure, I mean, you don't need to make sure, but my opinion has always been that, like, you need to have something that is, like, you know, that's your style. Just like how you look at, like, Monet, and you know it's a Monet without even, like, looking at the information. How you look at, like, Rembrandt, and you see the way he uses his darks, like, oh, that's fucking Rembrandt, you know? So it's like the same thing applies to tattoos, in that, like, you need to have your style, whether it's, like, subject matter, whether it's, like, a certain color scheme you use, whether it's, like, certain, like, way you edit or take your photos, you know? It's has to be something unique, and something not only just unique, but something also very you know? Something like very, like, what you want to be known for, you know? And,
do you think that is born talent, or do you think that's something that could be accomplished with, like, just constant dedication and work? Because, like, it's hard when you think of, like, oh, well, that's Picasso. I know that because I can, you know. But it's like, you're also talking about, like, the greatest of all time to ever do it. Is that something that they're born with? Or did they just, you know, like, I always wonder, like, can you work hard enough to become Picasso? Or is it just something that you're gifted with?
I think, like... in a more, well, yeah, obviously I'm using, like, very flamboyant, like, references, but I think, like, but no, I think it relates to everybody, you know?
Yeah.
And I think anybody, I don't want to say anybody can do it, but I want to say that, like, it's definitely, like, art is, like, not something that you're born with, you know? Everybody thinks, like, oh, you were just born artistic. It's really not. It's all about learning. It's all about trial and error. You know, people will say, like, oh, I can't draw. Like, I can't fucking do it, you know? But if you just take one subject matter, like an apple, right? And you draw it every day, you know, probably by, like, the 50th try, you'll draw a pretty good as apple, you know? Art is all about practice, and it's all about trial and error. But the also really challenging thing about art is that there's no right way, you know? Yeah. Which is, like, where most people get stumped, you know?
It's an amazing thing, and it's also a really challenging thing.
Yeah. People are just like, oh, I can't do it. So I think, like, with the right amount of, like, kind of, like, open-mindedness and, like, kind of, like a balance between open-mindedness and dedication and just a lot of hard work, anybody can do it, you know? Yeah. And, like, also it's a lot of patience, too. That's something that a lot of people don't have, which is patience, you know?
Yeah. So. I have to agree because, like, everyone has heard, I'm sure every tattoo artist has heard this exact phrase, which is, oh, I can't even draw a stick figure, you know? Like, it's like that. And it's like, I am a firm believer that, like, yes, you can learn. Yeah. You can learn how to draw. You can learn how to be an artist. But I think that it's hard. I think that no one really knows the answer to this, but I do think that there's a certain level of, like, someone said this to me one time, and it's like, it's so true. I don't know where it came from. I'm sure it's a common thing, but how like in every other job and in every other industry, you don't show up to work only when you feel inspired. Mm-hmm. You know, you don't just start working when you're motivated. And I feel like that's the common mistake in artists, is that they're like, I just don't feel inspired. I'm not gonna, you know, and it's like you have this blank page and it's like, well, I don't really feel it, so I'm not gonna try. But that's something really cool about tattooing, that has just knocked it out of us, because you have to show up every day and you have to perform even when you don't have that like spark of inspiration or whatever. And then you learn, like, it comes as you start working, as you start drawing, as you start tattooing. Like, you work that muscle in your brain, and then all of a sudden you start to like see more come out, you know, and more parts of you come out in your work. And but I still am not sure. I'm still not sure if there's that like gene that you have that makes you slightly more artistic, or you know what I mean, gives you that upper hand when it comes to being an artist. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, like, everybody has different ways to achieve it, you know? And like, it's like what I said before, there's no right way, you know? Yeah. And like, but people think like being an artist is like just art, but it's not, you know? It's about like, I'm going to also use another very flamboyant example. Let's take like Leonardo da Vinci, right? And Michelangelo. I'm just like getting a book right now. Because there's a term. Because like they're known for like being like amazing artists. But the truth is that, I mean, well, yeah, they are amazing artists. But they were also like amazing. I
love that you're getting this book out.
Is this even the right book? Oh, it is the right book. Because it's like, because they were like, not only were they amazing artists, but they were like amazing at anything that they applied themselves to. Like, it wasn't just painting, it was also sculpture, it was also science, it was also like other things. For Leonardo, you know, he was like also like developing inventions and things like that. And like, and it's not that they were just like amazing artists, it's like the mindset that they have. And it's all about like
to be the best you can possibly be at whatever you're doing,
especially art. And like, especially for like tattoo artists, like everyone's just like, oh, I'm never gonna be good enough. And then, but that's not the point. The point is that like you are always trying, you know, and the point is that you're always working hard. And the point is that like you're also constantly looking at like new sources of inspiration, you know?
Yeah.
And that applies to everything, like music, like life, hobbies, and I'm like going off on a tangent, sorry.
No, but, I love it. I love it.
I can't find the exact term, but I will like send it to you through DM
send
when
it
I
to
find
me.
it.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me, it's now I'm going to quote Oprah.
Okay.
But I think Oprah said one time that if there's any such thing as luck, it's where preparation and opportunity meet. And I think that applies to what you're saying, because...
Oh my God, so true. Yeah.
Isn't that great? Yeah, because things don't just happen or come to anybody if you're not like in forward motion towards that already, you know? And like that I think applies to styles like as well. Like for tattoo artists, it's like like you're saying, you might like go through so many different variations of your style before you find the one that like sticks with you, you know? And like, even for myself, I'm in that process, I feel like right now, where I'm like, you know, there's days where you can be frustrated. You're like, oh man, what can I do to become more myself as an artist, you know? But then like, I feel like, okay, well, if I just keep going, like get through today, get through tomorrow, keep tattooing, and then eventually you're going to look back. And I feel like I do already. You look back every year and you're like, oh, I'm definitely closer to where I want to be than I was last year or the year before, you know what I mean? And so, or even month to month. So I think it's like that idea of like, keep that preparation going, keep like that forward motion going, and then when the opportunity does come, you're ready for it, and like that has to have been the way it was for you, and arriving at Bang Bang, where it was like, if you didn't start tattooing, you wouldn't be working at Bang Bang. No one just starts working at Bang Bang. Like, like, I think I want a tattoo, I'm going to work at Bang Bang. Like, it doesn't happen.
I'm very lucky, to be honest, that happened, But I think, like, even though Bang Bang was the goal,
Yeah.
But I think, like, getting to Bang, I realized that I had achieved my goal a long time ago, which was, my goal was to find my niche in tattooing,
Yeah.
And then I think, like, because I found my niche and because I loved it and because I progressed with it, then I was given the opportunity to work at Bang,
Yeah.
And
well, that's it.
Yeah. And all artists will say this, which is that, like, it's never done, You never just go to Bang and then you're like, oh, I fucking made it in my career. Let me just fucking coast for the fucking rest of my life. It's not
I'm done.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. As an artist, you will know it's never done. You're always going to be, like, finding new things. You're always going to try new things. You're always going to, like, attempt what you thought you couldn't do, And that's the mindset that is actually so, like, invaluable. And, like, that's the mindset people need to have. You don't need to be good at drawing. You just need to be, like, I forgot what I was saying, but
No, I think that's spot on. I think that, and, like, that's always the thing. It's like, okay, like, I made it to the top of this hill. What's the next hill? And, like, what's the next climb? And how do I start that? And it's good, obviously, to take moments and appreciate where you've gotten and how far you've come. But I totally agree. There's never going to be a point where you're like, cool, I made it, I'm done. That's it.
Yeah, it keeps you humble too, and it keeps you, like, always, like, working hard and appreciating, like, what you're given, and, like, not trying to get, like, spiritual or anything, but like, it's that constant, like, artist mentality to, like, always find new things and challenge yourself also keeps you humble, which is
definitely
so
there's always something else to conquer.
Yeah, super. But, like, it gives you a lot of anxiety, but it keeps you humble.
Like, but that being said, can you think back to any one or two specific moments in your career that like were huge moments for you, like that kind of either, like, put you in a position to take those opportunities, or maybe, like, opened a door for you, or, like, had a huge impact on your career in a positive way? Or was it more of, like, this steady climb?
I think my biggest positive impact in my career was when I did my first guest spot.
Cool.
It eventually led to me getting fired from my first shop, but that's another story. Yeah. But I remember I was, like, 3 or 4 months into tattooing, and I'd finally, like, wasn't broke anymore. Because, oh my gosh, I do not miss being broke. I will say that. But I finally had enough money, and I wanted to go travel, so I traveled, and I finally had enough money to afford tattoos too, to get tattooed by, like, artists that I wanted. And that's when I wanted to go to Spain, and I wanted to get tattooed by this guy. His name is Daniel, and he tattooed, like, my shoulder, and it was, like, cool. my first micro realistic piece. And I remember when I told him that I want to come get tattooed by him, he was like, "Oh, you're a tattoo artist. Come guest spot here while you can." And I'm like, "What? You want me to guest spot here? I've only been tattooing. I only do like tiny shit. You know, at the time I was like doing like scripts and like little things. And like he was like the owner of his shop in Spain in this small town called Zaragoza. And then he told me to come guest spot, and I literally only worked for like one day, you know, because I wasn't planning to.
Yeah, cool.
And it was so I guess it was like the first moment where like I was like, wow, I did it, you know, like it was like I was alone too. I was like solo traveling, and then you know, and I was just like, wow, I did it, you know, like an artist who I adore and love was like kind of like recognized me. And so then cool. They were so nice. They're so nice people, Europeans. And then and then it really changed my life. And it was, and also like the piece he did on my shoulder was fucking beautiful. Like I was like looking at it like every day, like how did you do this, you know, with just like a 3-liner, and like he only used like one needle the entire time, and I was like, how did you do that, you know? And I was like, not only was it like a masterpiece from a technical standpoint, but like he as a person in the shop, the people were just like amazing, even though we like could barely communicate with each other. But it was just like, it was an amazing experience, and that really like gave me like the spark I needed to, you know, like
it was a confidence boost.
Yeah, whatever you want to do, like it's okay to think like you're not good enough, but you gotta try, you know. And like that was and maybe like do so many more guest spots, maybe meet so many people, experience so many things that like brought me here today, you know.
There's like such, I personally think there's so much value in doing a guest spot. I like, especially being a self-taught artist, there's so much I learned from doing guest spots, because like all of a sudden I'm around other artists that are just so much better than me. I'm like, oh, that's how you do that. Like that is like, I never would have thought of that,
like,
you know?
Oh my God. Like, of course,
like,
fuck.
But I think it's such a huge moment for any artist to do their first guest spot, you know? And so that's really cool. I mean, it's good to know that that's like a learning experience and a big moment for someone like you, who I think a lot of people can look at and be like, oh man, you know, it's hard. Sometimes I think it's hard to imagine artists that you look at and you're like, man, they're so successful as an artist, or they, you know what I mean? Like you were looking at him, you know, and going like, what, you want me to like guest with you? Sometimes I think it's hard to like imagine that these successful artists, or like people that have kind of like maybe, you know, established themselves in this industry, like have moments like that, have moments of like self-doubt, have moments of like questioning, you know, or like not sure, or maybe have that anxiety like you're talking about. And it's cool because I think like people are opening up to that a lot more now, which is, I think, helpful for everyone, you know? The same way people sharing their techniques and all that stuff is helpful. Same way of like sharing like your self-doubt and your insecurities is like so impactful to people, you know? And everyone needs that confidence boost. Like everyone needs that like little push.
Yeah. And like I was coming from like a shop. It's like the same shop where I told you, where they wouldn't let me record like what needles they were using. Oh, yeah, you know? Yeah. So to go from that shop to like this shop, it was like, I'm like, whoa, so you don't have to be like a hardcore, like ruthless person to make it in the industry. You can just like genuinely like foster new artists, and you can also be a great artist yourself, you know, and you won't lose how great you are by passing on what you know to somebody else. Like that's not how it works. And then such a huge learning experience, because like Yeah, that's also, yeah, like it's like what you said, like you go to a guest spot and like you're in a totally new environment, you know?
Yes.
And like obviously like biologically, like the brain is more attentive and more alert when you're in like a new environment, you know? So it's
Wow.
like,
That's such an interesting take on that.
yeah, because like you know whenever you're in a new environment, you're always like
Yeah.
unconsciously picking up things, and like for an
Yeah,
artist
yeah.
that's so important, because like that is how you develop, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, they're
And
so
be
they're
creative.
they're so beneficial. I think they're so beneficial. They could be uncomfortable, you know, especially like your first one, and you're like, oh, what do I do here? You know, all these people know each other so well. I'm just like on my own. Like, hey, how's it going? You know, and, like I guess I'll
I'm Jakey
I'll sit
Jake.
here. Yeah. Yeah, it's like it could be so uncomfortable at times, but it's so amazing. Like I feel like I would not be where I am without doing guest spots and meeting other artists. But that's just with anything. You put yourself out there in uncomfortable environments, and you're gonna see benefits from it. You know, always. Whether it's learning not to do it again or
Yeah.
learning other things. You
Oh
know?
yeah, when you fuck up like in a new environment, you're like, oh, traumatized.
Yes.
PTSD.
Oh my god. Like no one like come and look at what I'm doing.
Exactly. It's just like,
Go away.
oh my god, like
It's so bad.
So funny, especially like when you go to like another country and like they use different products and you're like, what is this?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, totally.
you know?
You're like, shit, I don't know what that is, but am I supposed to know what that is? Like,
Like, why is it pink? Why is it not green?
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand, because like Europeans like use a different thing. And I'm like,
Yeah.
do you have Meticide? And they're like, what's Meticide? And I'm like, oh, I don't. Never mind. You know.
yeah. It's it's so funny. But how many like artists have you gotten tattooed by? You have like a cool collection. I feel like way cooler than most tattoo artists.
Oh, yo, thank you. I think it just started with my first guest spot, that I just started collecting tattoos like whenever I travel, you know. That's the nice thing about being a tattoo artist. One of the job perks, you know, is that you get free tattoos, you know. And
It's amazing.
And it's like the greatest honor to like trade with somebody, you know, and like and or just to receive one, you know, from somebody. And it's yes, I got tattooed almost like every time I'm doing a guest spot. So it's got its steady collection going on, and
Awesome.
Yeah, and like great thing about New York is that artists all over the world come to New York to tattoo.
Yeah.
You know, you don't really need to travel out to them. They come here, and then you just say, "Yo, can you put me in your books, please?" You know,
Yeah.
And it's great.
Yeah, I definitely need to get more tattoos from like great artists. I have some cool ones for sure, and ones that I'm really like. When someone really great tattoos you cherish it. Like, you know, you're just like, yeah, like that's a favorite tattoo of mine. You know, like you love it. But I want
And
more.
it's also like so much more like rewarding when like when you get the tattoo from somebody that from an artist, and like and you just have a great experience with them, you know. It's like so nice because like, you know, like as an artist you sit down with them and then you're talking and like you get to figure out like how they came to be an artist, and they're and it's like the tattoo becomes like much more than like just like an amazing like tattoo. It becomes like, oh, this is the fucking time I met this guy. He was so fucking cool. He was so nice. And like it's like and you know, I try to do that when I tattoo too, you know, that it's much more than just like even if it's like a little like word, even if it's like a little tiny bee or like something, you know, that takes me like 2 hours or 3 hours. And you know, I want also the clients to say like, feel what I felt, which is that like I had a great time just sitting down and talking to this person, you know. And like and like that also like in a way, like when people look at their tattoos, it makes them much more beautiful in their eyes, you know, like subconsciously, you know.
Absolutely. No, that's absolutely true. If you have a good experience getting a tattoo, you're going to love the tattoo more. It's that simple. Like that's just how it works, you know.
Yeah, you can have like a fucking amazing tattoo, and then you can just be like, yeah, I love the tattoo, and then I'd be like, what was the artist like? And then they're like, I don't know, we didn't really speak, you know. So I'm just like, it's a great tattoo, but like imagine like if it was like a great tattoo and you had an incredible experience, you know. It just like it's you can do it.
Do you ever deal with like guilt of not posting your tattoos? Like do you post every tattoo that you do?
Do
no,
you?
Right? No, of course not. Like, and there's so many reasons why I don't. And
I do feel so much guilt.
Yeah, because like you want your client to feel like what you're talking about, that connection, and that like they had a good experience, you had a good experience, but like that has nothing to do with it. Like there's so much more to it, you know, than that. But I always feel that like kind of slight guilt, but
I try to balance it out, but like I do post every tattoo I do on my story. You know?
There you go. That's a good way to do it.
So I mean, I try. I think I do it like 98% of the time, and like but sometimes like I'll just have like a super busy day and just forget to post. But I make sure. That's always been like what I've done from the very beginning, which is probably what helped me grow super fast on social media, which is that every tattoo I did, I would do it, take a photo, edit it, post it on my story, tag them, you know, and like say a little bit about what it's about. And even though like it's not being posted forever on my story, you know, I mean, even though it's not being forever posted on my feed, it was on my story for at least 24 hours, you know, and like people see it, and like, not that it's important that people see it, but like the client who got it, you know, understands that like I also enjoyed doing it, you know, and like that's how I deal with the guilt. That is my way of coping, you know. That is
yeah. I think I've met one artist that says they post every tattoo they do, but other than that, most people I feel like do not post every tattoo, and there's so many reasons. And I read something recently. It's like, here's all the reasons why your artist potentially didn't post your tattoo, and it was so insightful because it's so true. Maybe they want to focus on a different direction or a different style, or you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And what you post, you get that engagement back in your email requests and all that stuff, you know. So,
yeah. And I also like posting it on my story because like then like if they have any issues when their tattoo is healing, or if they need a touch up, they can just DM me and I'll know who it is, you know?
Oh, that's a good way. Yeah.
Because it's a part of my OCD, you know? That, like, because somebody was like, hey, like, my tattoo faded. And then, like, you have because you posted the story, you can see what the story was. And then, I tattooed this on this person.
Right.
And then you see how it heals. And then you also, like, remember, like, how long ago it was, and et cetera, et cetera.
That's
like,
so smart.
Yeah, and it just helps, like, especially clients, like, feel that they can always, reach out to me. And
you're going to see it.
Yeah, because, like, so that it doesn't get sent to, like, the requests. It goes straight into your inbox.
Right.
And then you'll know that, like, oh, this is somebody I worked with. And, like, and then you see their tattoo, and it's like what we were saying. Like, when we see the tattoo, we get reminded of who the person was. And you're just like, oh, hey, how's it going? You know? And, like... I try to do that. So it, because like it's more for the clients, so that like I remember
really
them,
smart.
And like it's really not that hard. Just like you finish a tattoo, you know, you ask them like, "What's your handle?" You know, and like write it.
And that probably makes that probably means so much to the client as well. Like, oh, they're tagging me in like their story. That's so cool.
Yeah, I used to. I don't know if I have it right now, but. Somewhere in like my bookcase back there, that like when I first tattooed, you know, like how you would have like, you know, like the printout of your tattoo and everything, and like, you know, like you have it taped onto the client so you can like remember, like, so you as you're tattooing them. So when I would finish, I would write their handle on the back of that design, and then I would put it in a book. And
oh my God.
I think
You're
the first
so organized.
Yeah, because it was more so. It started because I was afraid when I first started that my tattoo everything would fucking fade, you know?
Yeah,
and I didn't
yeah.
have an iPad back then, you know? So
Okay.
it was like Procreate. So in case anything happened to the tattoo, I would have the reference and I'd be like, oh fuck, everything fucking disappeared. Let me just have this reference. And so it started like that, but then it eventually became like a habit to get everybody's contact down and like
cool.
and then I think I gave up like when I went to Bang, but because it was like I was like just having like it was but up to Bang I used to do that all the time. And
do you still print out pieces for references, or do you use your iPad as a reference?
Oh yeah, I print it out because
do you
I think I knocked my iPad over once, and then like I'm like a clumsy person, you know. And like when you're tattooing, you're just like swiveling your chair everywhere.
Yeah.
You know? So I think I knocked it over at one point, and I was like, I'm just gonna do paper.
I heard something that as well, like the light from the iPad actually can like affect you, and like when you're tattooing and you're like trying to use a reference, like the light from the iPad. How do I? Do you know what I'm trying to say? I'm like, what are the words for this?
You mean like because like the iPad is bright and like the skin is like not bright? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So like your like light tones are gonna be different on the skin. Yeah. But if you're looking at the paper, then it's more accurate to like skin. Yeah.
No, I feel that. You know, like when you like go like from somewhere like super bright and then you enter a dark place and your eyes need to adjust, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like the same idea. You have like a super bright screen and you're staring at it and you go to the skin and then it's darker and your eyes got to adjust and then your eyes adjust again looking at the screen and then that could potentially fuck up your eyes. Now I think about it, you know?
Yeah, and like also like your lightest shade of gray. Like you go to do that on the skin and you actually overdo it, like it's like too dark then on the skin because on the iPad all that backlight is making it like is like helping the lightest shade. Anyways, so things like that. I still use an iPad, so I don't know why I'm saying all this, but
yeah, I wouldn't recommend it to somebody who's like starting tattooing, you know. I think like for more seasoned tattoo artists like you, like it's fine, but like for somebody who's like still learning to kind of like learn how to use tones and gray wash and everything, I think it's just better for them to have like a paper reference because it's similar to just like how you would learn drawing when you were younger, you know, like you didn't like I don't know if you have an art background, but like it's
a bit, but high school level, like.
Yeah, it's like, you know, in high school art class, you weren't like, you set up a still life, you know? You like looked at like an actual object and like you understood it better because it was an actual object in front of you. You were never copying like a still life that was photographed and then you put it on an iPad and you copied it from an iPad. That's like, it carries over to
It totally
tattooing.
does, yeah. Once you understand like real life things and like you have a little bit of an art background and like even like human anatomy and or like you're saying, if you're looking at a physical object, you can cheat some of the things on your tattoo. Like you can go, oh well, that I understand the muscle there and I'm going to exaggerate one of the highlights or I'm going to exaggerate some of the shading to like help my tattoo look or stand out better or look better in this way. I don't have to follow the reference exactly how it is because maybe the reference
exactly
not the best.
Yeah, like a lot of my tattoos like are like collaged together from like references because I don't like I personally don't like to put on a tattoo on somebody that somebody else would have, you know.
Right.
So I'll like, for example, like everybody does the Michelangelo David statue. Like everybody does that, you know. and then I see it, and I'm just like, I don't really want to put that exact tattoo on somebody, so I'll make my adjustments to it, and the adjustments, I make them more realistic because I understand and like where the drop shadows would be, where the highlights would be, you know, and that comes from just the artistic traditional training, you know, from my younger age, you know, and like that's how I think like kind of like talking about what he said, it helps, you know, to understand the 3D aspect of what you're tattooing, even though it's a flat image.
Yeah, understand, you know? Lighting and...
Who knew that those like still life classes in like high school would actually pay off one day?
I know.
You know.
I actually loved that stuff. That was like my favorite part.
Oh yeah. Do you know that thing where like you had to like draw like a sphere, you know, and like you had to like learn like about how to shade a sphere, you know, with like how like the light bounces off the ground and back onto the underside of the sphere. And like in tattooing, like it applies with like a negative space, you know? And I'm just like, oh.
I still think about that stuff actually, exactly what you're talking about. Like adding a little bit of backlight underneath. A little bit of backlight like goes so far. And it's usually something that like, maybe like you're saying in the reference, it's just shaded all the way to the edge. But you have that little slight bit of backlight and it like adds such a difference.
And it gives it like a breathing space and it doesn't make it like a heavy piece and like
so we kind of touched on this, like I know you've gotten a lot of really cool tattoos from some great artists, and actually I was going to ask you like about like, do you just get tattooed by these amazing artists at Bang?
I actually haven't really gotten tattooed by anybody. I got tattooed by Dragon, you know.
Nice. Cool.
Yeah, very lucky. It was like, it's when COVID finally finished and we were getting back and we had to do kind of like a test run, like a soft opening to make sure everybody still got it. And we had to like bring in like, a friend or like somebody that we would just tattoo. And then I remember like we had the meeting and then Dragon came up to me and he was like, Ghinko, do you want a tattoo? And I was like, yeah. And then he was just like, okay, what do you want? And I was like, anything, you know, like, I mean, that's not what I do with all my artists, actually. I just like let them do whatever they want.
Yeah.
And then he gave me.
That's the best.
Gave me, it's like kind of hard to see.
Oh, wow. That's so cool.
It's this one. But yeah.
Yeah.
And like, and then, it's just, so I was
That's
blessed.
amazing.
I was blessed by Dragon. I'm proud to say. And every time, like,
that's so cool.
I'm tattooing people, they always see it, you know, and they're just like, oh, who did that tattoo? I'm like, Dragon.
Well, that's the tattoo that I noticed like a few times this evening. I was like, oh, wow, that's such a cool tattoo. I wonder who did that.
But yeah, it's funny because, like, this is just like side tangent for you. But
go for it.
Because, like, Dragon used to work at West 4, which is the shop I apprenticed at. And I remember, like, I was still in the sister shop at the time, but I would like come over to West 4 sometimes to see my friend JK, and then I remember like Dragon Station, like his tattoo station was just filled with like artwork, like that.
Wow.
And I was like watching it from a distance, and I was just like, those are some pretty cool references. And I go closer and he fucking drew them, you know. It was like it was drawn by him. It was there was like full on color pieces too that I thought were photographs from far away, and I was like,
no way.
And I go closer and I'm like, what the fuck, he fucking did this shit. And then like and I would like get to see him tattoo.
That's crazy.
It wasn't him, but I got to see like other people tattoo at West 4, and it was the first time I saw microrealism. And I remember the first microrealistic piece I saw, like in person, like fresh, was by Evan Tattoo, and I remember just seeing it, and it was just like nothing like I've ever seen in any of the tattoo shops before, and I was just like mind blown. I was just like, tattoos can look like this, like this is crazy. Possible, you know? It's like it's totally different, like seeing it in real life than like on social media, you know. And then that was like the moment where I was just like, I want to do this. I want to do single needle. I want to do microrealism, and like So yeah, like Dragon holds like a special place in my heart because he's just
That's so
insanely talented. Like, yeah.
Oh man, I so badly want to come, like, see, like you're saying, see all that work in person. Like, I would love to. I'm definitely coming to New York, like, as soon as I can. But like, there's so much talent in New York, and I'm just gonna like be basically popping around all over the place, seeing everyone. I mean, there's so many artists that I feel like when you like have met on social media but haven't met in person. I just would love to meet everyone.
Yeah, the coolest person I met, I mean, everybody's fucking cool. But, like, he's, like, everybody thinks it's overrated, Mr. K. But but what was amazing when I first came to Bang is that Mr. K, he draws everything. He'll use Photoshop, like, for, like pet portraits and things like that. But everything else, he does, like, by hand. He's literally just, like, drawing in the corner with, like, a lead pencil and, like, erasing, repositioning with, like, an actual lead pencil. And, like... That's
crazy.
I remember one time the printer was down at Bang and everybody was, like, fucking going crazy. I was going crazy, because everybody needs our printer, and then to print our stencils, and everything. Yeah. And then Mr. K was just, like... just working, because he does everything by hand. And I was like, yeah, and I think that's why, like, his tattoos have such, like, a natural, he gets, like, that his style, like, his tattoos, like, he has, like, this style that can't be copied because he literally just does it by hand, because when you have a computer and you have Photoshop and you have Procreate, it's like you're kind of, like, letting the work already be kind of done, through your references.
Yes, that's true.
But for him, he, like, draws everything by hand, and because of that, it looks so unique, and the spacing is so aesthetic, how he spaces things out and gives and positions them, like, even, like his hand I shouldn't be talking about him. I'm, like, divulging his secrets, but, like, he's just, like, he really, like, takes his time. Like,
tell us how he does it.
He's just, like, it's, like, literally, he, like, takes no shortcuts. He just, like, does everything and draws everything like just like a real artist. Yeah, it's amazing. Like, I need Procreate.
I'll spend so much time tracing a stencil because I don't like if it's not exactly perfect,
Zoom really close, make sure, like...
It's really close. Like, every pixel is, like, perfect. Anyways, that being said, could you, like, with all the talent in the world, all the amazing tattoo artists, do you think you could break it down into 3 tattoo artists that you would love to get tattooed by that you haven't already been tattooed by?
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I already got tattooed by Dragon, and he's, like, one of my all-time favorites.
There you go.
I think, like, I was thinking about this, and I always wanted to get tattooed by Cole Gray.
Cool.
You know who Cole Gray is?
Yeah.
Yeah. He works at my shop. I have no excuses. I can get... but, yeah, I always wanted to get tattooed by him. I've been following him for a long time. And it's... when he joined Bang, that was actually one of the biggest reasons why I also decided to join Bang. Because I was like, oh my God, Cole Gray's working there. I have to meet him. Like, I have to... so I always wanted to get tattooed by Cole Gray and Mr. K and Oscar. Yeah. Oscar was also some of the... I've just been following Oscar ever since he, like, started at Bang, and I was like, oh my God, what the fuck? Like he's unreal. Like, he's unreal. And,
so good.
Those are my 3. Yeah.
Wow. So that's, like, that was really easy, and they're all, like, right at your doorstep.
I know, they're, like, all right there, and, like, but I'm, like, also...
How convenient.
I'm also kind of nervous to, like, be like, hey, can I get a tat? Because they're also busy, so I'm just, like, I feel guilty, like, hey, I'm not going to pay for this tattoo, but can you... I mean, I guess I could pay, but, I'm just, like, I feel rude, like, just be like, hey, can you tattoo me,
I know the feeling. Yeah, I feel like it has to be like that right moment, like, oh, we both finished early today, just by chance.
Right? Like,
Wanna
oh,
tattoo
you
me?
had a cancellation?
Yeah, exactly.
I'll just like stop tattooing right now, and like you can tattoo me,
Yeah.
And,
That's a pretty good 3, I have to say. Ghinko, the best, and thank you for doing this with me. That was really fun. You're doing great stuff, and I am honored that you even took the time to talk to me and be on this podcast, because I know you're going to make a lot of people happy by doing this. I've got a few messages, a handful of messages actually, asking for you specifically to be on this podcast. So.
oh, really?
Yeah, I did. I mean, I get messages like all the time asking for different artists, which is really cool. But your name has popped up more than a few times, so.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Honored.
So thank you for doing this with me. This is awesome, and I look forward to having you in Ireland or seeing you in New York, whichever comes first.
No, I'll definitely come in April. I'm down. You're so cool.
Cool.
I wanna come, and we could talk about how anxious we are before every tattoo.
Yeah, we'll have a great time, honestly. So
Okay.
thanks so much.
It was nice to meet you.
You too. I'll talk to you soon anyway.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening, everyone. If you're enjoying this podcast, please be sure to follow on social media and wherever you listen to podcasts, whether it's Spotify or Apple or Google. You can find me on Instagram at jankyjake_tattoos, and this page is at the_fine_line__. So many underscores. If there's a specific artist that you'd like me to have on the show, please feel free to send me a message, and I'll see what I can do to get them on. Once again, my name is Jake Berry, and this is The Fine Line.